All right, hi everyone. My name is Matthew Kress, and this is going to be a video presentation on vitamin B1, thiamine, and its application in a both dietary and a microbial-based nutrition plan, and its therapeutic uses and functions and concepts to consider when building a nutrition plan that addresses a vitamin B1 deficiency. Now, this is a rather large topic, and there's really quite a lot for me to go over. So I'm really going to do my best to address the most important subjects that come to mind regarding this, and what I find as a dietitian nutritionist who really enjoys fermented foods, what I find is missing in the conversation, and why there are so many people that are doing a B1 deficiency protocol and they're not feeling the benefits, or they're not feeling like their B1 deficiency and the symptoms that are related to it are being resolved. So what are the related B1 thiamine deficiency symptoms or even conditions that we can come across? So more classically, we're going to find the condition called beriberi, and that's what you will find in all the textbooks. I will let you look that up on your own accord. But then there's also more of a prevalence of dysautonomia, POTS, etc. A B1 and even all B vitamins. All B vitamins are energizing as a very global view of what they do. B1 does more systemic energy, and then it also works on circulation, blood pressure, blood volume, which is where the POTS and dysautonomia condition comes in. And this is going to be more of a video presentation on how I address these types of concerns and where I find the other types of protocols are lacking. Of course, if you need help with a vitamin B1 protocol, please watch the video, but then if you need help, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help. And so let's dive in. All right, so to get started, we're going to talk about the dietary sources of vitamin B1, thiamine. When there is vitamin B1, we're going to find it mostly in meat, eggs, cereal, sprouts, rice bran, and beans. That's what the textbook gives. I'm just reading off the textbook. One thing that I do see that is not mentioned, and I think merits conversation, is that vitamin B1 is heat sensitive, meaning that when you cook and when you heat up any food item past a certain point, past a certain temperature, your vitamin B1 is going to be destroyed and it is going to be lowered. So if you are trying to have meat and eggs, these things, we cook them. And when we cook them, we are essentially lowering their vitamin B1 availability that the body can absorb. And so this raises the question, well, how am I going to include more vitamin B1 in my diet if every single time I try to heat up something, it gets destroyed? If you're interested, please reference this screenshot as a reference for the vitamin stability and each vitamin's individual sensitivity regarding heat, light, and oxygen. You will see some vitamins are really stable throughout the cooking process and the processing of our food, and others are more sensitive. The more sensitive ones we find are harder to, I want to say obtain, but you need to have a more intentional approach about making sure that you're getting these vitamins in a non-destroyed form, especially if you are experiencing some type of deficiency from these vitamins. So just as a reference as to what the authority figures are recommending, it says that the World Health Organization, Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, recommends a daily vitamin B1 intake of 1.1 to 1.2 milligrams for adults per day. Vitamin B1 deficiency causes lethargy. This lethargy is a very slippery path. If vitamin B1 induced lethargy progresses, it can induce beriberi, but then it can also then lead into chronic fatigue syndrome and other energy deprived conditions in the body. Along with the poor energy metabolism, vitamin B1 deficiencies are also tied to more peripheral neuropathies, poor blood volume, which then leads into the POTS dysautonomia conversation. And then that also leads into the immune modulating section of B1. Mind you, all B vitamins are energizing, like I said before. B1 does have a immunometabolism aspect to it that I do think is important to keep in mind, and is the reason why those with like chronic fatigue syndrome, POTS, dysautonomia, beriberi, why all of them are not just low energy, but they're actually sick as well. Someone can be low energy and just be fine, but usually when someone has low energy that's through a B1 deficiency, they're going to also experience like a type of sickness, like they don't really feel well along with having their low energy. And this is going to make the remission not necessarily complicated, but it's going to take a more intelligent approach as to what you're going to do to help resolve these issues. So anyone, and honestly, I'm going to make a very blanket statement, anyone that is experiencing low energy, it would be wise to make sure that you are satisfying all of your B vitamins, specifically B1 for the sake of this video we're going to talk about, but all of them are necessary for proper energy function. And so let's dive in a little bit more to this. Now, for the sake of being consistent, I will mention that it is necessary to also make sure that there are enough calories being brought into the diet, and that it's not just B vitamins that are going to make someone feel better. Someone can have a 1,200 calorie diet and 1,000,000 milligrams of way too much, but a sufficient amount of all of the B vitamins, and they still wouldn't feel well because they're not having enough calories. So there need to be enough boxes being checked off for an individual to actually see progress in their remission of a low energy state that does have a specific B1 deficiency type of approach. In this sense, what I would say for anyone that is experiencing low energy, as a more global dietary view, what I recommend is that you actually technically need a quote-unquote bodybuilding diet, because when someone is on a bodybuilding diet, they're building their body up so that they have enough energy to do these workouts, to do X, Y, and Z, to have enough energy to do X, Y, and Z. If someone does not have enough energy, or if they are needing, more calories to get through the day, we're going to put that specific type of a person on a diet that provides sufficient amount of calories for energy to be produced. If there is no energy being produced in the body, that is because, first of all, there's probably not enough, carbs, protein, and fat in the diet. And then maybe we look into the vitamin B1 deficiency. But before we, if you're watching this and you're concerned about having a B1 deficiency, you need to first check to make sure that you're actually getting enough, carbs, protein, and fat on a daily basis to make sure that when you do have these calories in your body, these B vitamins can be used. And I will go so far as to say as that a low-calorie diet, if you're not eating enough, you're technically not eating enough to provide enough B vitamins to the system for you to properly function. So I will also say that I have been in the low-carb, ketogenic, carnivore, you name it. I've been in that field for quite a while, the GAPS field as well. And I have watched people struggle with a POTS dysautonomia condition or even B1 deficiency, and they've been on benfotiamine for way too long, and they've been taking 2 grams per day, and they do not get better. They do not get better, and they are spinning their wheels incessantly. What is necessary? First of all, there needs to be a backed up view. Ketogenic diets and low carbohydrate diets are for essentially those that have insulin resistance or poor insulin metabolism. Most of the people that are having poor energy, they do not have poor insulin resistance. That is not the concern. Their body is asking to use insulin, actually. And usually when someone comes to me from a low carbohydrate, ketogenic, GAPS, or carnivore diet, saying, I have a B1 problem, or I have low energy, I have chronic fatigue, I don't understand what I'm doing this elimination protocol, and I need help. When we slowly, mind you, but surely add carbs back in at a very using benign types of carbohydrates, they get better so much faster. So in the sense of a low carbohydrate carnivore GAPS type of keto protocol, there is one thing that I do want to mention before we get into the B1 conversation, and that is it is basic human knowledge. It is physiologically proven that eating and having protein and carbohydrates increases your insulin in the body. Insulin helps you retain moisture, helps you retain water in the body. And so for someone that has POTS dysautonomia, where they have low blood volume, they're actually going to want their insulin to be higher on a more consistent basis. So if their blood volume and if their insulin is low down here, they're going to constantly feel better, even though they have stable blood sugar. But their stable blood sugar is way too low because they got low blood volume. What they're going to want is they're going to want their blood volume to be slightly higher. They're going to want their blood sugar to be slightly higher because it means that there's a constant influx of insulin, and that's going to fill out their body with enough blood so that they are feeling good a lot of the time, which is why I have found such great success in putting, those that have a POTS dysautonomia, low blood volume, fatigue, chronic fatigue type of condition on a more carb-based diet, because that's what the carbs do. That's what a specific amount of protein does, is that it will increase the blood volume in the body. And then also we all know that, when you have more insulin in the body, your kidneys are going to retain your electrolytes better. So you need less electrolytes in the supplemental form. Please don't mind the church bell. Here we go. That's why I live in France. Love the church bells. But that is why we need to make sure that there's the right specific macronutrient split in between each one. Fat, as a general macronutrient, is not going to increase your blood volume, and it is not going to be helpful in a more building aspect. This is why bodybuilders are going to do more of a moderate protein, high carb, low fat approach, because it's going to help them big and grow and get big muscles and be very in the gym. And that's why when they go and do a cut, when they go to lose weight, they're going to cut the carbohydrates because it's going to make them lose their water weight, and it's going to help them lose their excess weight. It's going to help them become more low carbohydrate, and it'll help them drop their weight. So bacteria, microbes, produce vitamins, not minerals. Minerals come from Mother Earth and, our atmosphere. But the reason why vitamins exist is because of microbes. Microbes make vitamins, period. The reason why your pork has vitamin B1 in it is because there was a bacteria in the pork, in the pig, that is in the pork's microbiome, which is eating, and it is making vitamin B1. That is how the pork gets its vitamin B1. That is how it has a nutritional profile. Vitamin B1 is made through microbes. And I think that is an important topic that is often forgotten in the vitamin B1 conversation. So what does this mean? It means that vitamin can be found both in a dietary aspect, as in the actual food that we're eating, and vitamin can be found when we eat certain microbes that will make B1 in our body. Now, that will both be brought through food, so we can be either eating a food that's already rich in vitamin B1, Or we can eat foods that are rich in microbes that make vitamin B1 and also have that in our diets. Often, most of the time, someone is going to be having a vitamin B1 rich diet. For example, they're going to be having more pork, for example, and they're going to be taking maybe a multivitamin, a vitamin B1, or a B complex, or even benfotiamine. Those are usually some of the things that I will see. And they, despite their efforts, they are not seeing an improvement in their energy levels. And I will go so far as to say that I think it's because that they're only focusing on this one side of the vitamin B1 equation, and they have forgotten that there are microbes that make vitamin B1 intrinsically in their body. And so what this video is on is me encouraging the person who's watching, if you're trying to increase your vitamin B1 thiamine status, to have both dietary and your microbes that produce vitamin B1 in your body. And so we are going to go over that in this video. So there is this one study that goes over vitamin B family and host immunity. I'm just going to add something right here. Please feel free to pause to read. And it says, various types of intestinal bacteria, mostly in the colon, also produce vitamin B1 as both free thiamine and TPP. So bacteria, when you eat fermented foods or certain foods that have microbes on them, they don't have to be fermented, when they have those microbes get into the digestive system and they go all the way into the colon. When those microbes take hold in the colon, they will make vitamin B1 for you intrinsically. So vitamin B1, when you have it in your diet, so this one, it is going to provide more of a systemic energy benefit to the body. And when you have bacteria or microbes that are bringing thiamine B1 into the system, they are going to bring energy to the colon mainly, which is the large intestine. Now, mind you, the colon is a very energy hungry organ in their body. It's going to use a lot of calories. And so usually if someone is having enough dietary vitamin B1 and they are not getting the energy that they are wanting, I will often say that it's because they are missing the key value with having microbes that were going to make the vitamin B1 in the colon. And often, I will almost say 100% of the time, every single person that has come to me with a vitamin B1 concern, they have all also had digestive issues. It goes to the territory. And so bringing in microbes that will populate the colon, large intestine, with a certain variety of microbes that produce vitamins, you're going to increase the microbial diversity in the gut, and you're going to improve that community, and your energy level should increase, and it should feel better because you're having more vitamins being fed to the colon intrinsically. Mind you, I'm talking about vitamin B1 more specifically, but a lot of the bacteria and other microbes that make vitamin B1, they're also going to make other B vitamins, other energizing vitamins. So having a diet that is not necessarily rich, but that has a consistent and intentional flow of microbes to the large intestine is going to provide a more energizing, rich microbiome that is strong, healthy, and provides energy to the host where these microbes are living. So I will attach a screenshot right here. And what you will notice from what I have highlighted in the first paragraph, it does say dietary TPP, which is thiamine pyrophosphate, which is found in meat, eggs, cereal, sprouts, rice, bran, and beans. Dietary TPP is hydrolyzed by alkaline phosphatase and converted into free thiamine in the small intestine. Small intestine. So the small intestine comes before the large intestine, which is the colon. And that means that the thiamine that you're eating in a dietary aspect from the food is not reaching the colon, which is why there is often a need for, why there's often colon problems in these B1 deficiency concerns. So in the second paragraph, you will see various types of intestinal bacteria, mostly in the colon, in the colon, so in the large intestine, also produce vitamin B1 as both free thiamine and TPP. Then farther down, they do all of their science, which is great. Love that. You will see at the end, it will say, this suggests that bacterial TPP is important for energy generation in the colon. Please mind that specific addition. Thus, dietary bacterial vitamin B1 appears to have different roles in the host. What that means is that both dietary and bacterial vitamin B1 is going to be made so that there is a overall general energy that is being made for the host, but vitamin B1 from the diet is going to be more systemic everywhere, and vitamin B1 from the colon is going to be for the colon mainly. Vitamin B1 from the bacteria is going to be for the colon mainly, is what I mean. Once again, if the diet that you're on has high vitamin B1 and you're even taking supplements and you've got a diet that's rich in vitamin B1, but you're still not feeling the benefits of the vitamin B1 that you are supposedly having, then I would say that you need to look into more of the microbial approach of what you're doing. And if you are more foreign to the concept of like microbes and fermented foods, etc., don't be afraid. Perfectly fine. That's why we're here. We're gonna learn. It's really easy. If you have had a previous negative experience with ferments, some people have, you just need to go slow. It's not hard. You can find the one that works for you, something very gentle, something very easy to consume. And there are specific ones that we'll go over that are more tolerable for the individuals. And we'll go over that. So we'll talk about it. Stay tuned. So in this next screenshot, you will see that right here, they mention the vitamin structure and where we are going to find these certain types of microbes that are going to produce vitamin B1. And they mention more specifically, a little bit farther down, that Lactobacillus casei produces thiamine during production of fermented milk drinks. So one thing that you do want to keep in mind, that I'm going to tell you about, is that the bacteria the microbes that they are listing here, this is not an exhaustive and complete list. This is a list of bacteria that they know of. And so when you look at this screenshot at the bacteria that produce B vitamins, you're going to see a rather shorter list, and you're going to see, interestingly, that you're going to see C. difficile, and you're going to see a very short list. And that's just because these are the bacteria that they have been able to study and that they have been grown in a lab and that they have put onto like one of those little discs, and that they have seen has been able to produce thiamine as a byproduct from their bacterial metabolism. That does not mean that there are not other bacteria that don't produce vitamin B1, but what we can do is we can look at the similarities between the bacteria that they have found, see what is more consistent, and make our own conclusions and see what works best for you and what resonates for you and the type of diet protocol that would work for you in this context. So this study is honestly fantastic, but I do find that even though they're providing us what we know now about the bacteria that produce vitamins, is that they don't necessarily give us an overview as to what other types of nutritional protocols we can take on to help increase our vitamin profile intrinsically. So when they say that Lactobacillus casei produces thiamine during production of fermented milk drinks, they don't actually give us examples of fermented milk drinks, and that's why I'm here. So when we look at the vitamin B1 thiamine pyrophosphate TPP bacteria that make thiamine in the colon, there is going to be a list, and I am going to mainly focus on Lactobacillus casei, Lactobacillus crevatus, Lactobacillus plantarum, and those are going to be the main ones. The other ones I'm not going to pay so much attention to, just because they are less common in general fermentation, but these are easy, and that's the purpose of this video, is providing ease to get someone to having a higher thiamine in their body. So as a very broad overview, here are lactic acid bacteria used as starter cultures and their relevant application. You will see that Lactobacillus casei is found mainly in cheeses and cultured dairy products. Lactobacillus plantarum is mainly found in sausages and fermented vegetables, but not only. You will see this. And also Lactobacillus curvatus is also found in sausage, but not only. One thing that I do want to mention, which I think is interesting, that may be a quick oversight, but if you're smart, you'll notice that when they say sausage, what is sausage usually made from? Pork. And where are we getting these pork, these vitamin B1 rich foods? When we make a sausage, we are making sausage that is cured from pork, raw pork meats. And so we are essentially encasing the sausages with these bacteria. They are going to cure, they're going to develop flavor, they're going to render the sausage edible, and they're going to help us create a type of food product that is rich in vitamin B1 microbially and in a more dietary sense as well, even if in the dietary sense, some of the B1 will be cooked off from the cooking process. We're still going to have these post-fermented types of compounds that are present, and this is the reason why we're going to see similarities between having B1, which is rich in pork, and finding the same bacteria in the sausage that we're making from our lactic acid bacteria, which are used as starter cultures. I think that is maybe I'm just a big old nerd, but I think that is so interesting, and I love being able to put these little puzzle pieces together. All right, so here I'm going to be a little bit more general, but I'm just going to go over a wide variety of food practices. And for example, vitamin B1, the microbes, first let's look at kefir. So kefir, as you see here, I've highlighted, it's going to have L. casei, L. plantarum, and L. curvatus. So these are three of the known bacteria that do make vitamin B1 intrinsically. Look at all of the other microbes that I have not highlighted that are present in kefir. Kefir is the fermented food product that has the most diversity presence that we know of as of today. It is really well known for being the, big guy in the fermentation world that has just the biggest, most impressive microbial profile for a food. Yogurt, for example, has 2 microbes. Kefir has, it's an extensive list. And as you can tell, I've only highlighted 3 of our main ones. I've also highlighted L-Reuteri because it's really helpful in just energy production anyway, even though it doesn't have a B1 slant like we're talking about today. But also what you should notice is that among all of these microbes, these other microbes are going to produce other B vitamins and they're going to bring other things to the body that are going to help you feel energized, feel the prosperity, the abundance of energy intrinsically. It is known that the kefir origins, which are in the Russian mountain ranges, the people that have the original kefir, strains and cultures, they have been known to have one of the longest life expectancies in the world historically. And so that is something to keep in mind as to why kefir is one of my favorite ferments, and one that I use quite easily, and that is very easy to do. It's a very low hurdle for a lot of people, even though it may be a skill to learn. It's very easy once you know exactly what you're doing. So moving on, you will also see that here, Lactobacillus casei and Lactobacillus paracasei and Lactobacillus plantarum increase in number by several orders of magnitude from 10 to the second root, from 10 to the second power, 10 to the second power to get more than 10 to the seventh power during aging and produce peptidases and other enzymes to generate aged cheese flavor. So when you go to the market and you see aged cheeses, the farmer's market is where you will find that, you will see ones that have been aged for 6 months, for usually 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and so on and so forth. And it's usually marked by 6 month divisions. And as the more aged it gets, you've seen that it's these lactobacillus ones that we're interested in that do make vitamin B1. When you eat good aged cheese, you are helping your body and you are giving yourself energy. You're providing the microbe nutrients that are necessary to make vitamin B1 in the colon. And so I usually will say in this instance that not necessarily eating a lot of cheese is necessary, but eating good, high quality old cheeses, like a really well-aged Parmesan, for example, or if you want to get fancy, you can reach out for French cheeses or other cheeses that have that same type of aspect. You don't need to be worried about the type of cheese that you're necessarily getting. I'm sure that there are certain cheeses that have a better B1 profile, but what you're going to want to look for is a hard cheese that you, and not necessarily that you are going to like shave, but one that you would like cut and eat as like a square of cheese. You're going to want to have that often, and not necessarily in big quantities, but often enough so that you're bringing more LKC and in L plantarum into the gut to inoculate the gut with these microbes that make the vitamin B1. So what you will see here in this screenshot is that this is a table of non-starter lactic acid bacteria used as culture adjuncts in cheeses. What does that mean? That means that these are technically a set of bacteria that factories or commercials will add to the cheeses that they're making to help them develop their flavor. So when a cheese is being made, it's going to isolate a certain type of a microbe for its fermentation process. It's going to be a different microbe for a different type of cheese, and that's why we have different cheeses. That being said, when these cheeses are being aged, they will add these specific microbes to those cheeses to help that cheese develop its flavor and for it to age properly during the entire process. And so what you'll see is you will find the other the lactobacillus that we're interested in that make the vitamin B1 have that be relevant in the aged cheese process. So this farther amplifies why you should be having aged cheeses in your dietary protocol if you are wanting to increase your vitamin profile. Now, mind you, also, this is probably, side note, they talk about L. reuteri being a happy microbe that people are so interested in. And I just want to say, like, there's a reason why people love cheese. It has L. reuteri in it, and it has happy-making microbes in it that, you know, we are in the process of learning in this. Like, the L. reuteri causing mood-boosting properties, we have just learned that. And for me, it's obvious. Like, these bacteria and these microbes are the reason why we enjoy eating aged cheeses, and we love that Parmesan flavor so much, along with a wide variety of other cheeses, mind you. But that transitions quite beautifully into my next one, which is the microbes that are present in sourdough bread. You will see that in sourdough bread, which is why people love bread. Bread is a super consistent food that we have in our modern day, but now we are more having breads that are not sourdough. They are commercially made with just flour and artificial levure, artificial yeasts, and so they are not sourdoughs, so they do not contain these microorganisms. If you are wanting a sourdough, if you're wanting a bread that makes you happy, literally, you need to have a sourdough which will contain these microbes that I'm showing you right here. And that is another way to bring in these types of bacteria into the gut, and is, in my opinion, the reason why us as humans, why we love bread so much. Then I'm assuming, and this is my opinion as a dietitian, the reason why we love bread but we get stuck is because of we get stuck from the gluten, and why it, quote unquote, hurts us is because we've transitioned from making bread from sourdough that has this beautifully rich microbial culture to bread that's made with flour, dead flour, and dead artificial chemical leaveners, such as baking soda and whatever. When we miss these microorganisms, we are missing the benefits that they bring to us, despite us wanting that bread feeling that we have evolved to grow and love. So next, and certainly not least, I'm having more of a Western approach to this, and not as my influences are not as Asian as they could be. And there is a whole, and I know I'm only getting a sliver of the pie, only looking at Western stuff. I would like to know more about, Asian ferments, but, that's beyond my scope right now because I'm not familiar with them as I should be. But as you can see here, tempeh does have your LKC, and also olives do have the LKC in their brine as well. Now, all I've done is I've just gone to a Wikipedia page. So the L. plantarum says that it is found really easily in milk products, meats, vegetable ferments, including sauerkraut, pickles, brined olives, Korean kimchi, Nigerian ogi, sourdough, and other fermented plant material, and also some cheeses, fermented sausages, and stockfish. Guys, it's easy. This is mindless work. This is so easy to do. The high levels of this organism in food also makes it an ideal candidate for development of probiotics. And I quote. So what this means is that it is not going to be hard for you to inoculate your gut with this type of a microbe, but what you do need to do is you do need to make sure that you are eating enough of this type of microbe for it to effectively inoculate the gut, so that you are getting the benefit of the vitamin B1. Of course, next, the Lactobacillus casei is going to be found in everything that involves casein. So everything that is just dairy, so cheeses and all types of dairy products, including the milk kefir that I mentioned beforehand. Then when I go into the Lactobacillus curvatus area, they also talk about it just being in a many variety of cheeses. So your Lactobacillus curvatus and your Lactobacillus casei are going to be mainly your cheeses, but you're also going to get your Lactobacillus plantarum from your fermented vegetables, cheeses, and sausages. And sausages and sourdough are also going to have your Lactobacillus curvatus. So pick whatever, pick. It is so easy. So in summary, what we have learned is that vitamin B1 comes from not only food sources, but it also comes from microbes that produce vitamin B1 internally when we eat them, and they get all the way down into our colon/large intestine. And what we can do is we can start including foods that do have vitamin B1 and foods that have microbes that make vitamin B1, notably aged cheeses, sourdough bread, sausages, mainly pork-based in this case, and then fermented vegetables, and just having a wide variety and a consistent influx of these types of microbes into the digestive system in order for it to inoculate the gut. If you are only having it one time, that is not going to be enough for it to take hold in the system. The microbiome gets influenced when you have a consistent flow of something into the digestive system. usually what I often make reference to is if I were to splash a rock once, it would be wet once and it wouldn't take hold. But if I let it drip and I have a continuous drip on top of a rock, I will eventually get a stalagmite that does form. And so you will see these types of same concepts. It's the volume isn't necessarily important, but being consistent matters. And this is how you positively and effectively influence your gut microbiome when taking a nutritional protocol that requires a specific maybe B vitamin complex that you're interested in amplifying for the type of condition that you may have, such as dysautonomia, POTS, beriberi, chronic fatigue syndrome, etc. All right, so I do have one post-production note that I did want to make before publishing this video. And I think it is really important to remember that you do not need to teach the body how to metabolize X, Y, and Z. There are a few sayings in the medical world where we say the dumbest kidney is smarter than the smartest nephrologist, or like the dumbest lung is smarter than, and you add in any specialty. We don't know what the body does entirely. We are still learning about the body. We know quite a few things. We have made a lot of progress, and honestly, we should be very impressed with the amount of progress that we have made. But that being said, a general approach that I do like to apply is provide the nutrition to the body and let the body do the filtering. When the body has an appropriate amount of nutrition that's being brought to it, it will do well, and it does know what to hold on to, and it does send signals to the brain as to what does and does not work. In other words, it is not your job to learn metabolism. It is not your job to learn how to do X, Y, and Z. It is your job to find what is nutritionally rich. It is your job to be in a mindful lifestyle where you are surrounded by a community that loves you, where you have a healthy relationship with your food, where when you're sitting down in front of your food, you say, man, I'm excited to eat. Or, oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have, this or that, or this was simmering all day and I'm so excited to go to town on it. The relationship that you have with your food is also important, and the mindset that you have does carry through. And I know this is more, less scientific and less solid, but your behavior and your mindset does influence how your body behaves. So please keep that in mind. You do not need to learn how to metabolize, your vitamins. You don't need to tell the bacteria to do X, Y, or Z. Or you don't need to tell your heart that it needs to beat all night to keep you alive. You just simply need to provide an abundance of wonderfulness to your body, and your body will filter and will do the rest. And that is my post-production notes. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, my name is Matthew Kress. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It does great for the algorithm, and it shows me that you like what I'm doing, and I'm here to help, and I'm here to participate and share my experience with everyone that's watching. And if you're interested in working with me, you can find me at kressdietetics.com. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.